January 22nd, 2026, Buddha Dhamma, Chapter 12, Appendix 1 and Appendix 2, 12.3 and 12.4. Appendix 1 is traditional definitions of the threefold training, Titso Sikha. And Appendix 2 are two extremes. Here is from pages 1308 to 1311, Buddha Dhamma, by Somdet Prat Buddha Kosa Acharya, or by his English name, P.A. Payuto. Appendix 1, 12.13, traditional definitions of the threefold training. A literal and orthodox translation of the threefold training, Titso Sikha, is as follows. The first, Ati Sila Sikha, training as higher virtue, forms of practice for training in supreme virtuous conduct. The second, Ati Sita Sikha, training as higher minds, form of training the mind in order to generate supreme concentration. And the third, Ati Panya Sikha, training as higher wisdom, forms of training in wisdom in order to reach supreme levels of realization. In the Tipitaka, definitions of the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, are presented solely in reference to the bhikkhus, the monks. Here, Ati Sila Sikha refers to restraint in accord with monatistic code of discipline, Patimokkha Sambara Sila. Ati Sita Sikha refers to the four jhanas of the five material and non-material concentration, meditation, of absorption, attainments. And the Ati Panya Sikha refers to either to knowledge of Ariyat Satchat, Four Noble Truths, or to the realization of liberation of the mind, Sito Vimutti, and liberation by wisdom, Panya Vimutti. The Nidesa explains this definition slightly. The Pati Sampata Magga broadens this definition, defining Ati Sila as restraint, Sambara. Ati Sita as non-distraction, and the Ati Panya as Samatiti, right view or right understanding. The Samantapata Satika claims that the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, does not simply refer to the 5 or the 10 precepts, or the 8 concentration of attainments, or to the understanding conforming of the law of karma, of reaping what one sows, because those levels of morality, concentration, and wisdom are taught irrespective of whether an awakened Buddha comes into the world or not. Rather, the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, refers exclusively to virtue, to concentration, and to wisdom, accompanying the appearance of the awakened Buddha. Ati Sila equals restraint in accord with discipline. Ati Sita equals the mind possessed of the 8 concentration of attainment, which acts as the basis for insight. Ati Panya equals insight knowledge, which is able to discern the 3 characteristics. The 3 characteristics. Anikata, Dukkata, Anattata. In the highest sense, the commentary says that the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, refers to transcendent virtue, concentration, and wisdom, but this definition can only be applied in limited contexts. Occasionally, they relax the definition, stating that ati sila refers to moral conduct, either of the 5 or the 10 precepts undertaken by someone who aims for nibbita, nibbana. And ati sila refers to the 8 concentration of attainments in regard to the passage in which Gautama Buddha speaks about higher virtue for lay people. The commentary says that this refers to the 5 or the 10 precepts. Now, sometimes the prefix, the ati, simply means better or higher. When comparing two things, for example, the 10 precepts are ati sila in comparison to the 5 precepts. In the fine material mind, rupa vachana sita, is ati sita in comparison to the sense sphere, mind, kamma vachana sita. In essence, the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, refers to virtuous conduct, concentration, and wisdom, which are practiced correctly according to Buddha's teaching and are conducive to advancing in spiritual practice. Here, it often describes the Titso Sikha, the threefold training, in the context of various stages of abandoning mental defilements. First, sila is equivalent to vitikkamma pahana, moral conduct. It means to the abandoning of coarse defilements, which are the cause for transgressions by way of body and speech, vitikkamma kilesa. Second, samadhi is equivalent to pariyayutana pahana, concentration in its means of abandoning intermediate defilements, which besieges the minds, pariyutana kilesa. Some commentators state that this refers to the 5 hindrances. And third, panya is equivalent to anutsaya pahana. Wisdom is a means of abandoning refined defilements, which lies hidden in one's innate character, sananta, waiting to manifest with conditions active, anusaya kalesas. This refers to the 7 latent tendencies, anusaya. Further definition of the Titso Sikha includes sila, abandonment by substitution of opposites, tatanka pahana, samadhi, abandonment by suppression, vikampana pahana, and panya, abandonment by cutting off, sammucheta pahana, and sila is the way of abandoning immoral conduct. Samadhi is the way of abandoning craving by abandoning tanha. And panya is a way of abandoning fixed views, particularly titi. So right view, samadhi, wrong view, mecha titi. The path factors are arranged into 3 trainings in a similar way, that they are arranged into the 3 bodies of doctrine, Dhamma, Skanda. Skanda meaning group. Finally, the last appendix of the end of chapter 12, 12.4, the 2 extremes, appendix 2. The passage from the Anguttara Nikaya defines Kamma Sukha Kanu Yoga as the rough path, the coarse path, referring to those who believe that there is no harm in sensuality and who immerse themselves into sense pleasures. It defines Atta Kila Mata Nu Yoga as Nichama Patipata, scorching path, parched path, referring to the practice of the naked aesthetics. Remember, the naked aesthetics was one of the 2 groups of the Jans in the teaching of Mahavir. The 24th Tankara. Anywho, the naked aesthetics, this should be considered merely as one example. It defines the middle way, the Majjhima Patipata, as any groups of the Bodhipakkhiyanama, the full foundation of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 roads to success, the 5 faculties, the 5 powers, the 7 factors of enlightenment, the 8-fold path. Now, this passage from Uttana, those who achieve value to study, to set it as an importance for moral conduct, to religious rituals, to earning a living, to keeping the holy life, and to pleasing the devatas. This is one extreme. Those who hold the belief, ditthi, that there is no harm in sensuality, this is the other extreme. These 2 extremes increase avijja and tanha, ignorance and craving, which in turn increase fixed views. It increase ditthi. Those who do not understand these 2 extremes, one groups get bogged down, the other one overreaches. Those who understand these 2 extremes do not get caught up in them, and they are not conceited due to this non-attachment. Non-attachment, no involvement. These things is no more of rebirth, no more sambaravata to be declared. Now, that's from Uttana 71, if you want to look that up and reference it. Commentaries define earning a living as an ascetic, and they equate atta kila mata nuyoga with an adherence to the precepts and the religious practices, sila bhatta paramasa. That's the end of the Appendix 2, page 1311 of Buddha Dhamma by, or translated by P.A. Payutto.